A clear win for Republican Ted Cruz, but for the Democrats, it's the closest result in the state's history. Live from CNN's World Headquarters in Atlanta, I'm Lynda Kinkade. CNN Newsroom starts right now.
Tonight is a victory for courageous conservatives across Iowa and all across this great nation.
The Democratic Party and this campaign stands for what is best in America.
I wasn't surprised at the surge for Rubio.
I think the people of Iowa have sent a very profound message to the political establishment.
I am so thrilled that I'm coming to New Hampshire after winning Iowa. I can tell you, I've won and I've lost there. It's a lot better to win.
And win she did, but by the skin of her teeth. Iowa's Democratic Party has declared Hillary Clinton the winner of the Iowa caucuses. And you can see just how closely she edged out Bernie Sanders. On the Republican side, Ted Cruz scored a somewhat surprising win against Donald Trump. Let's take a listen to what the candidates had to say.
It is rare that we have the opportunity we do now to have a real contest of ideas, to really think hard about what the Democratic Party stands for and what we want the future of our country to look like if we do our part to build it. I am a progressive who gets things done.
There is a silent majority in this country. You know, one of the greatest lies that gets told on the airwaves over and over again is that this country has somehow embraced Barack Obama's big government failed liberalism. That's not true. This is a center-right country. This is a country built on Judeo-Christian values. And the heart of my campaign is based on common sense principles. Live within your means. Don't bankrupt our kids and grandkids. Follow the Constitution.
Now, to discuss all of this, I want to bring in Democratic strategist Jamal Simmons in CNN's Washington Bureau and Republican strategist Tira Setmeyer, who joins us from New York. I want to start with Jamal. Looking at the Democrats, this was the closest result in the history of Iowa caucuses. A victory, as you know, has only just been declared by the Democratic Party. Sanders hasn't conceded defeat yet. And Clinton, of course, said she was relieved. What will this win do for her campaign?
Oh, this was a very big win for her campaign. Hillary Clinton was facing the moment of having, if she had lost Iowa, she would go into New Hampshire where Bernie Sanders is the favorite because he's from the next door state and he has a great appeal to the voters in that state. Lose Iowa, lose New Hampshire. Now she's got to try to fight back in Nevada and then in South Carolina. Nevada's a caucus state, which is also benefiting Sanders because more liberal voters. So she'd be in a tough position. Now she can at least fight that fight from a level of parity and be able to kind of have it be a mixed result and do very well. She's suspecting by the time she gets to Nevada and South Carolina.
But before she gets there, she has to get through New Hampshire. And so many analysts are already saying that Bernie Sanders is expected to win that state in a landslide. Some say he will crush it. If he achieves anything less than that, will he be disappointed?
Well, he's got to be careful of expectations. Expectations are a big deal. I mean, we saw this on the Republican side with Marco Rubio. People thought he might come in third, but maybe that third place would be around 10 or 15%. Him getting so close to Donald Trump was a big expectation beater. I think the same thing is true for Bernie Sanders. He's got to maintain low expectations. Maybe he wins, but not by that much, so he can exceed those when it comes time to count all the votes after Election Day.
And I want to go to Tara now. Tara, after being so front in the polls, Trump was the loser in Iowa, a word he absolutely hates. We didn't hear from him until about 11 a.m. local time this morning when he took to Twitter and he seemed to make excuses. I want to bring up one of his tweets. He said, "Because I was told I could not do well in Iowa, I spent very little there, a fraction of the time Cruz and Rubio spent there. Came in a strong second, a great honor." Tira, what kind of Trump do you think we will see going forward from this?
Well, this is obviously spin on the part of the Trump campaign because everything about Trump has been about being very braggadocious and bluster and win, win, win. We're going to win so much that you're going to be tired of winning. And I mean, it was ridiculous, and to the point now where he can't claim that because he is officially a loser in Iowa. And Donald Trump doesn't take to losing so well. He winning is his entire campaign platform. So he had no choice but to show some humility last night so that he didn't look like the complete sore loser and thin-skinned candidate that he has been in the past. So I think moving forward, you might see somewhat of a shift in Trump, but I'm not quite sure how long that will last. Let's not forget, we have another debate coming up before New Hampshire, and will his performance there, will the fact that he lost, will the fact that he can't keep pointing to polls as, oh, I've been winning, but then you lost in Iowa, will that shift his strategy? I'm not quite sure about that.
And looking at Ted Cruz and his victory, there's been a lot of talk about what a candidate does to make good ground. Ted Cruz was one of the only candidates to visit every single county in Iowa, all 99, and he ended up winning the evangelical vote by 60%. How much work and money and effort does it take to run a ground campaign?
Oh, I mean, it's huge. It's hugely important, especially in a state like Iowa. It's all about organization. And Ted Cruz, what Ted Cruz did, Ted Cruz was record-setting. He had a record-setting night because he invested in that infrastructure, because he had 12,000 volunteers, because he visited all 99 states. I mean, he did the requisite pounding the flesh and hugging babies in Iowa that you need to do. So it goes to show you that even the traditional way of running campaigns in Iowa, it's still valid. Donald Trump showed you, people thought that he was just going to fly in and use his celebrity to get people out to caucus, and that clearly did not win. I just want to say something really quick about the Democrats. You know, I know the Democrats are spinning this with Hillary Clinton, saying, oh, she's so relieved and this was so important. That may be true, but I cannot believe that they're necessarily happy with what's going on. Hillary Clinton was up 60%. She had 60% favorability a year ago in Iowa to 6.7% Bernie Sanders. All you've seen is this in her trend lines. And now she's going into a hostile state in New Hampshire where you're going to continue to see that, and momentum does matter. Jamal was right with that.
We're looking at some polls that did show up, that did appear before the vote last night. It looked at credibility and experience. Hopefully we can bring up these polls. It showed that Bernie Sanders had by far and the most support when it came to how trustworthy and honest he was. And most people, though, thought Hillary Clinton had the most experience. What do you think both of those candidates have to do to bridge those gaps where they fall behind?
Well, I'll hop in here since the Democrats. I think that it's a tough thing to battle back against these kind of perceptions. The real thing that people vote for is not really this kind of more ephemeral question about trust and experience, because those things really play into something else, which is about vision. And where do you want to take the country? What is it that I'm going to get if you're going to become president? What are you going to do for people like me? And can I trust you? Not just will I give my kid to babysit, but will I trust you to actually sit in a room and advocate for me and my family and make decisions on behalf of me and my family that I can trust? And that's the real question that I think they have to answer. I'm not sure we know the answer to that question yet for these candidates, but that's the real cause of a campaign.
That's been a struggle for Hillary Clinton. Relatability. Does she understand problems of someone like me? That was a huge problem for Mitt Romney. He lost 79% to 19% to Barack Obama in 2012 over that very issue. If people don't feel connected to their candidate, it's difficult for them to vote for them. So that is the problem that Hillary Clinton has had. She's had 30 years to define who she is. People know who she is, and they think she's a liar. And so that's a problem for her and a huge hurdle. And I think that's going to be her biggest hurdle, an obstacle moving forward. How do you change that perception? It's going to be very difficult for her.
Yeah, some huge challenges going forward, even though she did win the Iowa caucus. Tierra Setmeyer and Jamal Simmons, thank you both for joining us.
Thank you, Lynda.
Thank you.
Well, all eyes are now on New Hampshire, where the US presidential candidates are already working hard on the campaign trail. And on that trail is CNN politics reporter MJ Lee. She joins us now from Windham, New Hampshire. You've been with Ted Cruz today. He's not resting on his laurels after winning Iowa. What has he been up to?
Yeah, that's right, Linda. Ted Cruz wasting no time getting himself to New Hampshire immediately after giving his victory speech in Iowa last night. He and his team members got on a charter plane right away, and he just actually finished speaking at a local church here in Windham, New Hampshire. He just left the church behind me. He basically took the time to thank members of his team for working so hard to help secure his victory in Iowa, and he used a tone of defiance, actually, telling the people here that he knew all along that he could win in Iowa, even though members of the media, members, pundits speaking on media platforms said that maybe he wouldn't win, saying that Donald Trump would probably be the winner. So for the next 7 days, this is what he's going to be doing. He's going to be spending a lot of time across the state, going to small towns, talking to people, trying to get a lot of one-on-one time with the voters here, trying to convince them that he should be the anti-establishment alternative to Donald Trump. Of course, you know very well that in recent polls, Donald Trump has been leading Ted Cruz by a significant margin. So this is going to be an uphill battle for Ted Cruz. But when you are coming off of a win, things do get a little bit easier.
That is true. Very good point. MJ Lee in New Hampshire. It will be just as busy for you going ahead as well. Thanks so much.